我个人这个张年娘对接触个来关民对多，让你们去比我送账。没去就把老的呢，张年个同小脚对送西南上送前的就送了，干得去破个药当，破完了点的熊啊，干得熊个药当。俺千把多，老个人在真就白米洗澡就那么几不送，真就白米个洗澡这种的呀，俺熊啊干得去熊个药的，俺我这打个药送账。
I'm making sure that Tibet's voice is heard from the loudest and the busiest pedestrian crossing in the world. For more than 70 years, Tibetans have been told to accept the unacceptable. We were told that China's occupation is permanent, that Tibetan independence is unrealistic, and that we must lower our expectation, soften our language, and adjust our political demands to what the global governments find convenient. The world asked Tibetans to be patient. We waited, and we waited. And while we waited, China used that time to kill over 1.5 million Tibetans, separated over 1 million children, some as young as 4 years old, from their language, identity, and their families, and put them in colonial boarding schools. They took time to control our monasteries, rewrite our history, erase our language, and every foundation of the Tibetan way of life. This is why Paul Logarangzen believed that the loss of independence was the root of Tibet's suffering. Without political freedom, every other right is weak and can be dismissed. Paul Logarangzen, a lifelong independence activist, sacrificed his life to end that occupation and restore Tibet's independence. Too often, the international community reduces Tibet to a human rights or religious right issues. Governments sometimes express concerns about political prisoners, even colonial boarding schools, and the destruction of Tibetan culture, but refuse to confront the political cause behind all of this, that Tibet is an occupied country and that Tibetans have been denied the right to determine their own future. The United Nations knows that. The governments know that. Political leaders know that. Their silence is not caused by the lack of information, but by the lack of courage. These governments have treated China's occupation as normal and expects Tibetans to adjust and accept it. This has been China's greatest victories, and China makes us believe that our resistance is futile and that our freedom is impossible. Paul Logarangzen rejected that lie and that fake narrative. He sacrificed outside the United Nations the most recognized address in the whole planet because he wanted the folks in that institution to not look away and no longer say that we don't know what's happening in Tibet. He made the most extreme and unimaginable non-violent sacrifice after years of peaceful appeals that have been ignored, dismissed by every door of power. This was his wake-up call to the world. This was a call to the citizens of the world. This and the 170 self-immolations prior to that was a message to the world that Tibet is still under some of the most draconian policies under the Chinese occupation. So, how long can the world choose to look and ignore the 171 human beings who burned their themselves to use their own bodies as evidence. How long can the United Nations and governments hide behind weak and useless statements? How long can politicians and activists who claim to oppose occupation, genocide, and oppression lose their moral courage when it comes to China, the world's most brutal and most powerful authoritarian regime? Standing here today at Times Square, the world's busiest, the most glamorous, the most shiniest place, I want to ask the world, why is Tibet denied the outrage and urgency extended to other occupied and oppressed people? Are Tibetan lives worth less? Is our nation less deserving of freedom? And it gives me no pleasure but to call on the world with shame. Shame to everyone in the world who choose silence. And I tell them, you are not neutral. You have chosen China's power over colonialized lives. History will record your silence for what it is, a complicity to China's occupation and genocide in Tibet. Your silence is no longer ignorance. Your silence is violence, and your hands are filled with blood along with the blood of the Chinese regime. They say that Tibetans are peace-loving people. But even Tibetans have a breaking point. We are angry, we are frustrated, and we're exhausted. But do not mistake our non-violence for weakness. Do not mistake our patience for surrender. We are peaceful people, but we are not defeated people. We will commit to Paul Logarangse and all the martyrs to not reduce their sacrifices to photographs, vigils, a tweet, names spoken and then forgotten. We will carry forward the struggle and demand for everything that they gave their life to end China's occupation and restore Tibet's independence. We also know that the world will not hand us our freedom.
In Tibet today, Tibetan parents have even been stripped of this right. 3 out of every 4 school-aged children are in China's colonial border. Approximately 1 million Tibetan children.
이민나 결승이 아니 nganda simbana ranchen loga kachi ro kwa chaboji namjun sakhala sayanare yama tenare khaine maso tan nyamtun jujuwa joim tan nitan topi kachi nitan daga zata chaniya da loga ranchen da imbana soso ranglu ti mesa tan chi sumri kyakap chi duini disini sago simchik ta soso yuna minati sim soso go ni de so being in the Pumila and the Spirit Sira. I want this Nigab getting one does in Bana Kotokore, Namju Tonde Yore, so Conan Desajama said, or Susan Tom Cicero Chade, Penanta, Jun Tapo Kale, Notomnatic, Richard Gabre, and I am Takon on the Mesata, Shukin out the Muniakos, and they have said, Hamar in the College Yorte, and nothing on Kayola, Susuniam Dedicapsta, meeting in Banara, localized to Hako or Mikona Hako, Sandwich in Mina, Semsila debate, Manda Dictation from Yadaku, Tirinka even the Mipe Mambo Sholesh, Tiape the Korota. New York, that Yachi that Chi mean Yuzum Chesa Mashi New York, Times Square, like in the Zunchi, Tangansu Papa, Sami also in the Lamakachi, Chimbo also turns on some that is Suraj Chimbocho. Tadapato Lingu answer on the purchasing and Tianti Ganto Chechu. Vincent also Papa Malaysia, 좀사디에 미타민 통하지 나랑서까지 강다지 최고면 미 학고고야지 제투니 미타민 통고라 언제지니 배 직제랑 세워 배 미가 뜨냐더라 송삼삼다지 총 내다냠도 단나가니 그냥 나랑서라 잡지치니 미nen가 망보 배도 싫어하는데 기능아 직 원니가 로갈 생기라도 서랑 메사탄 지기 디기 슈킨 키닝 아졸라고 말도 심식 bet manda chesha di nuwa twingdu samya cho tin solution chamberless nga pepein and perante galo lower ante galo perante
마제 로모도 저는 공사장고 저거 뽑아셔야 그러면 뭐 라마 용서 저보다 가와치는 매버에 배란세 쇼비 진생 때는 매버차 진생 때는 zaman 만족 감각 냠마 다른 거 거기 배 용이나래 시투 주초 이나래 배 미마 이나래 감각의 동자 지들 때는 다른 존데 만족 배 제거도 미리 지기 체들 만족 감각 살래 뭐 동자 지디 제야 배 무슨 바케이션 보래도 진생 때는 다 다른 데서 되게 가르쳐오면서 배 초가서 제조 놀이 얘기 배받아서 초가도 주로 그때 맞아부터 나 배바이 왜죠 나 배바이
너가 단제 란리메 주변에 시차 시차 이메지리아 편토양 안서 전부터 전 가르치야 요리에서 장니도 좋았들이야 아니 nen데 조던 라미나 좀 뭐지 요때는 이나 두바 산제 장된 되게 엔데 시차조 간사들이야 아니 먼저 편토 가르치야 요리에서 디노 두바 산제 장된 되게 되는 화면 어제 그래서 화면 지야 이나 팽그리라 투바 산제 장된 되게 손바데 디기 진주도 저 아니지 다가 이체제네 아니 한 다바도 나오여라 단단히나 못 나오리에서 근데 손자 이는 연남바 전뒤도 자네 아니지 로가란전最比 생체 챌린지在哪里啊 아니 화면은 나로나지 엔남바 저기 뒤도 자네 공도 니에 타만 되시네 아니 게 균도 지제 요 근데 손자 엔남바 저기 뒤 둘레 자네 화면 나로나 스티셔이 에 자만에 군조선 자주 군소 시간 좀 하셔서 다랑이